Oh, here it is.
There you go.
Aha. Perfect. Well, that was it. We were right there.
Okay, so then whenever you open over, make sure you have to choose them.
Yeah.
And
Automatically move all assembly expenses into breakout rooms. No, we don't want that. To assume session anytime.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
There we go.
So then
Just leave it.
someone
You'll have to
maybe try and see if this works.
Hey, Elise, can you get back on the meeting?
Yep.
Oh, Lindsay. Sorry.
What else is there? Save. Had a room.
Yeah, if you guys can hop on with your computers. Yeah, right there. Go ahead and break out rooms. Oh, yeah, you should be able to click on it and then it'll bring it forward. Yep. Yay.
Okay.
Perfect. Hey,
Where do we have it?
that's great. Very nice. Go ahead.
Yeah, but now I see that Lindsay's on signal.
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, awesome.
So our goal is because of action. I think we're
So hello, everyone. We'll get started shortly. Hi, folks.
Yes.
And our other leaders here.
Can everybody hear?
No. Nope.
I feel better.
Hi, Orville. I don't know what's going on. Okay. It's something in their system then.
We still good?
Now
No.
we are.
Now we're good. Okay. All right. We just introduced our team here, being Mr. Taro, who's our Chief Executive Officer, Becky Hatley, who is our Project Director, Brian, who is the other ROSC coordinator, and myself, I am Jennifer Karen. I'm one of the other ROSC coordinators. You have received in your emails that came out with the invite to this meeting, a copy of the slideshow, also very important, an MOU that was attached. If you guys generally sign those, we have to have them back yearly. So if you have not signed one within a year, please sign that and get that back to us. So as of right now, we're going to go through and do welcome introductions and announcements. I see, I know last time at our ROSC Council meeting that we stated if you were new, we would let you introduce yourself and where you're coming from. If you've been here before, to save time, we were going to just have those new people introduce themselves. I see a couple new faces that I don't recognize. So I know with you, I don't put you on the spot right now. Yeah, you can just, there's microphones here that should be able to catch. You can talk from there. Okay, thank you. And I think there's a couple ladies back here I didn't recognize.
My name is Faye. I'm off R3. I am the Area 5 program director for the team. So, Marianne,
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone joining us online who has not joined us before that would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, my name is Cassie Delaney, and I work with Memorial Behavioral Health, and it is my first time attending.
Okay, thank you, Cassie. Another big part of our group here is not just meeting monthly, but working with each other. So the collaboration amongst everyone here, it's always great to see new faces and what your jobs are bringing to the table that could serve each other, all of us in the community here. So I think it's a great way to introduce ourselves and know what we're all doing in this community. So next is our announcements. Like I said, you guys get this in your email, so I'm going to kind of briefly go over our announcements. So we do have Overdose Awareness Day coming up, which is August 31st. So we do have an event put on by Crossover Ministries that is going to be held in the Lincoln Plaza in Hillsborough, and it's going to be from 2 to 8 p.m. I think they're still talking. If you have someone who has passed from an overdose, if you want to submit a picture and some maybe music that you're wanting to memorialize them with, you can submit those to Crossover. And there is a Bond County event also that night from 6 to 8, I believe. And where is that being held, Patrick? Okay. Okay, thank you. We actually are having a recovery event ourselves in September at our clinic here in Litchfield. It's going to be September 14th from 11 to 2. We're going to be titling that United Strong, Recovery Belongs. Amare is having a Rocking for Recovery in Bethalto. It's going to be on September 17th. Our Safe Passage and recovery care coordinators are going to be attending an event in Dixon, Illinois called Recovery Con. So I think you can join online as well. So if you'd like to hear their speech, you can join online. There is a Illinois State AFG convention, Back to Basics, starting October 14th through 16th. And then we do have our local meetings, our Al-Anon meeting on Thursdays at Crossover, our Winter Circle meeting on Fridays at Crossover, our Emotions Anonymous meeting here at the Beacon Church on Thursdays. We did enclose a list of webinars that you guys can check out. They're always free. It's always great to educate ourselves and things that we're dealing with in our communities. I also left in that Lincoln Land's hosting the free GED classes on Thursdays or Mondays and Thursdays and Mondays and Wednesdays in Litchfield and Hillsborough. Next slide, please. Okay, so I know some of you out there are in contact with Julia. She's one of our data collection people. If you have received an email from her for PIMS, you know who you are. So if you have not got back to her, she needs that information. It's due, I think, 9:15. So the quicker you can get that information to her, the faster she can get her report done. Okay. So we have an safe passage is our access point. I don't know, we updated one more, so we do have 30. We're always looking for more. So if you guys have any ideas for any access points to where we can help serve people in our communities that might suffer from barriers, please get with us and we can access those points for individuals in our community. Next, we have our safe passage update, which is in July, we served 40 people in Macoupin and Montgomery County, which then led to 75% of them seeking outpatient or inpatient treatment. I wanted to break that down a little bit further to kind of show our linkage from Safe Passage to our linkage to our clinics, because I think that's an important aspect of what Safe Passage does. And I wanted to give credit to our clinics because they bust their butts every day. So if you can see on the numbers here depicted, our St. Francis Wake Clinic in July served 32 new patients or clients, and total clients served for the month was 127. We did not have any inpatient referrals. However, we did commit 20 of those to new outpatient clients. And these are the ladies, if you can see their picture here. They're our team. So when the clients come in, that's the team that they meet, being our case manager, our site access manager, our counselor, our PRSS, and our secretary at the front desk. So these are the smiling faces they get to see when they're coming into our clinics and getting services from our clinic. Our health and wellness numbers, we served 17 new clients. Total clients served was 88. We had 1 inpatient referral and 12 outpatient referrals. And that was just in July. A little bit of the outreach we did have a National Healthcare Centers Week. So that's up in the left corner. We did go to Old Settlers for the 2 days in Old Settlers and met with people at the fair. And then we did the back to school bash, which was it was a very fun event that was hosted with the Litchfield Ministerial Alliance. We got to meet a lot of children and parents that were looking forward to their new school year. Okay. So I told you guys for the last couple of meetings, I think, that the next stage in our ROSC grant, our ROSC council, is to action plan. So this kind of plays into that. So I know I'm only here since March, but what you guys decided as a council is our priorities as a council. And I just wanted to take a moment to remind you guys, because I know it was a little bit ago, of what our priorities are as our council for our MMCR. So number 1, reduce stigma and increase engagement among community members. Number 2, we're going to improve awareness of substance use and mental health through education and outreach. And that in turn facilitates cooperation among sectors, perspectives, and lived experiences. And then we are going to increase access to multiple recovery support options and timely care. And then increase the number of people pursuing and maintaining recovery. So with that, as a council, and now we're in the action planning stage of our, like I said, our moment, but yeah, John's excited. Our momentum here. We are going to be breaking into 4 subcommittees. So based on our needs assessment, our community outreach, and our ROSC meeting minutes, that most identified gaps, barriers in our communities are, drumroll please, stigma reduction, which includes education and awareness of SUD, housing, transportation, and increasing engagement in our ROSC council. It seems like we're pretty populated today. We have a full house, it seems, in person, but we can always use new input and voices in our council. So that's always an ongoing goal, is to increase the members in our council. So when I say subcommittees, and I just listed those 4 subcommittees to you, there are a little bit of expectations that go along with those subcommittees. Yes. So some of those expectations are, what we do as a ROSC council is we facilitate this group. We hold these monthly meetings to collaborate among these sectors that each of you present here for. So within these sectors, we are going to then create what they call a strategic plan. A strategic plan is basically what we're going to be focusing on in these subcommittees for a projected range. So at a micro level being 1 year and a macro level being 3 years. So if you're going to be in one of these subcommittees, being stigma, transportation, housing, and ROSC Council, we're going to be looking at things we can do and change within those specific periods of time, being the 1 year or 3 year. So that kind of goes into the first bullet point on our PowerPoint. And so then again, those subcommittees will meet outside of the ROSC meeting. So you guys aren't going to just meet inside the ROSC meeting every time. There will be outside meetings from the ROSC meeting. So it's a little bit more dedication that we're asking from you, but for a great goal. So, and then I guess a little bit further along in the subcommittees, we are going to ask you then someone from the subcommittee to present to the ROSC Council. That way we have an inclusivity for our ROSC Council to all have a say so in each one of the subcommittees. So therefore, if you're in the transportation group and you guys are coming up with your goals and your strategic plan for the 1 year and 3 year, we would ask you then to kind of bring in your resource and your knowledge that you've learned and obtained while in that subcommittee and present to the whole ROSC Council. That way everyone can have a say so and ideas going into that subcommittee as well. We will also, Brian and I, since we're the ROSC coordinators, we will be attending all 4 of these meetings. We are going to put you in these groups, but also have emails interacting with all of you. I'm going to give out a sign-in sheet for each group that presents itself today. So I know I had you sign in on a main sign sheet for today's meeting, but I would also ask you to sign in on these subcommittees sign-in sheet. That way I know who is in what subcommittee, and that way we can create an email chain with that. We will then ask each subcommittee to create a spokesperson. So that way there might be one person who has a general idea of what the meetings are, kind of the person that might be putting the meetings together or hosting the meeting. Also maybe someone to take notes or be a secretary of the subcommittee. So that as well. And like I said, Brian and I will also help with any ideas or planning with these committees. Next slide. So when I'm telling you a strategic plan and what we're going to have actionable things, I'm going to ask you as a subcommittee to answer these questions. So when we're looking at housing, transportation, stigma, we're going to look at what do we already have, because we don't want to duplicate things or make unnecessary or redundant things. We want to look at what we have and what can we improve on what we have? What gaps or barriers do we have? So like I said, if we have something already implemented, what is that not meeting the expectations of our community? What do we want to see happen? And I mean, like I said, we're doing a 1 year and 3 year plan. We're not broadcasting for a decade here. So let's make it something that we can obtain. We want something that we can work on that is obtainable as a council, not something that we're going to set up ourselves for never meeting. How do we want to fix it? So we need to create we need to identify the problem, but we also need to identify how we can fix that problem. And then because we are reporting all of this, and how will we measure the outcomes? So for example, I said increasing engagement upon the ROSC Council. Well, then we could always measure the outcome with our attendance sheets or records. So we need to have a way that we can monitor the growth of your subcommittee in those actionable categories that we're going to talk about. So something that you can measure. And like I said, we're looking at 1 year or 3 years. So like, how long is it going to take to have this transpire in the future? Okay. So I think, does anyone have any questions? That was a lot. I'm sweating.
Are you saying that?
Okay. So at this time, I know, is there a question online?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I just have a question. Are you saying we need to accomplish all of this today, or this is a plan that we're going to continue with?
This is the plan that we're going to create and work on today and in the future. But we, as because we're responsible to a grant, we do have to put this into writing. So it's something we do have to turn in to to our state about what our plans and goals are and how we're going to meet them. So you guys will meet today, start brainstorming, come up with some ideas. They are not anything that has to be concrete. So just because you say something doesn't mean we have to do it in that time period. It's just saying that these are what our plans are. It's a moving target, if you will. So, I mean, if you say, something simple as with transportation. So you're going to have maybe somebody in your subcommittee look into what you already have in your counties that you're representing. So like identify things in our counties that we already have, and then identify things that we need to bring. I mean, it's not something that has to be concrete to where you're going to be held to it. But we need to have actionable categories, like I said, that we can complete. Any other question? And I didn't state, but those of you online, we're going to have laptops set up in each one of the groups. So there will be 4 choices: the stigma, transportation, housing, and engaging ROSC council members. So you should, when the breakout rooms are popped up, you can select what group you want to go to, and there should be laptops to where you can interact with that group as well. So you guys will be included in the groups as well. Any other questions? No? Okay. Yes. You might. That's not for me. That's above my pay grade. I did give you guys here in person a sheet that kind of identifies to take notes on what your group is discussing, the timeline, like an objective, a goal, and things like that you might want to take with you to write on and write down those ideas. So, yes. Right. I would like it to be somewhat equal, but I know people have kind of their forte, if you will. If you know something about transportation or housing, you might go to one or the other. I will say that you guys can be on more than one subcommittee. If you would like to enter your email or let me know if you want to be on housing and transportation, I can include you in the emails that we're going to go to those subcommittees. So then you can be involved in both subcommittees. So right now we're just going to kind of break off into groups. There's 4. So if you want to have 4 groups, if you want to kind of just separate a little bit, some want to sit in the chairs. So I will, I guess, put housing over here, transportation over here, stigma back there, and then the increasing engagement along the ROSC Council over there. And I think everyone online, I think she enacted the breakout rooms. So if you want to select which one you're going to, we'll be with you momentarily. Did everybody online see a breakout room open up? Okay. Okay.
Okay, housing's over here. Housing. Do we have a laptop? Anybody online during it? Oh.
I have to announce that. I think I've had it for 12. I got things with 55, and then we'll bring them all back and then we'll and I know it's hot up here. I don't know. I'm sweating. I'm trying to make sure it's covering everything in my mind. No, it's just too cold. Now keep me accountable for time.
And the maintenance would happen to get anybody anywhere for transportation or vacation. That's just not my places or medical places. It's whatever they need for their healthcare. And if it happens to be the, if they need groceries for their healthcare, we go there. If they need this, that, and other. So that, I mean, that still wouldn't solve all the problems, but it would really make a big dent because people that have had an addiction condition, they don't have driver's license, let alone.
You're wondering how come I did. We never run into that household. So there are lists of landlord areas. Okay, yeah. That landlord list fluctuates a little bit here and everything. Who's available, but it's always growing. So the number of units. So we have a resource. Yes, when we get like let's start an online file with the phone. So living document. And we're looking through and editing and adding we just started looking. So we have yeah, and you hear me. Wow. Okay, now I have people trained off. So everyone wants to try so we have what we like to find so far is that they have some short term jobs to by that we have temporary housing like without housing we can cover up to a couple of weeks but in that are having to the capacity over there. So we short first house situation. There is no formal structure. Good. And having some finding shelter, maybe the short term. Long term. The landlord in our area. There's not many already identified. Not they things of that nature, you know, sort of thing. Okay, other problems are running into is the parking told some of the paperwork that's an issue with them with so security before you're right. That's good. Dave, we're tonight. Good day. Yeah, we have one of the presentations that we do. They could show the, yeah, already done well, and ESS, they have well. But if they could show any group of who they are, we can, I know, so I analyze, like, and then Art United becomes our advocate. We have no problem handling homeless name. I have no problem working with other plans. We get that all the time.
Secretary about the parent and
Yeah, we work very closely with my party. They are, they're really close. They got a lot of fun. Yeah. And those are more they come back or the thing that people know. Yeah, yeah. But he doesn't say he doesn't get kids. He just says that we are a client building they don't tell us. We are a quiet life file. Yeah. I know. But not like marginal guy. So the ROSC Meeting show the ROSC Meeting. Unfortunately, I see service. They would work with him, but that's free. If it was less, they have to do but that free. I didn't get all this and the work the project. I do that. And then I'm yeah, my predecessor, at Albert, my predecessor at Albert, he went to extended education for research and create. How it's sold out. It was national building. Did not. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. They were building career for. Yeah. Well, we'll be on yeah. Yeah. I'm very positive that I'm here. Discovery of balance of care. Yes, so then you'll be that's what I want to marry. What's going on right now? We are prepared organization. And that's just good idea. But Okay, like I said, part of the step part will be all my study. We're getting all kinds of, we're in our, both kinds of translate. So what we can do is we can have but we will be emailing that report. Yeah. Yeah. That is right there. Have a big meeting perfect.
In about 2 minutes, we're gonna have everybody reconvene to the big table. Or 6 minutes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, 1 minute. I'm off. Wow, my clock is off. Yeah, I told them. I don't know where Julie went. I see you, Ryan. Ryan came back to the meeting. Yeah. It doesn't shut. It hit me in the background. Can everyone now join us back at the big table? And everyone online will be redirected back to the main meeting.
Yeah. I do, yeah, I left the. It was more.
Attention ROSC customers, your breakout rooms will be closing in 1 minute. I don't know who lets me use a microphone. They shouldn't. Watch this board.
We do a truth and a roll.
No. Julia, did you in the breakout rooms? Okay. I don't know why. Anybody? All right, everyone should be back now. I don't know what happened to everybody online. I don't know if everybody's back online, but today, at this time, we're going to do our moment of wellness. And our moment of wellness is going to be brought to us by Julie Pullman from Chestnut. So she's going to go ahead and do that so we can stay on time.
So the troublemakers are coming back on the.
All the cool kids. If I talk this close, is that good enough? Can you hear me in the back? Patrick says yes. Okay. When Jen asked me to do this moment of wellness, I hesitated. And then I talked to my supervisor and she said, oh, you know what you should talk about? You should talk about what we talked about at your interview. And I went, how do you remember that? So it was so odd for me that she remembered a conversation I had. So I am going to share it with you. I have always worked with clients and been one-on-one with people, whether it was as an advocate for domestic violence, people, survivors or child welfare. I've always kind of been one-on-one. And you realize that they are no different than all of us. They have the same stressors we have. They might not have the paycheck or the ability or the supports around them to work through some of those stressors. And so as workers, we become their support system and we try to encourage them and we try to help them one thing at a time. And we carry their burdens and we carry their energy. And so over the years, whether I had kids in school or my husband was on shift work or my parents needed help or my siblings needed help, I was not only carrying my own burdens, I was carrying that energy and stress from my clients as well. And I had to find a way to take care of myself. And one of the things that I did, quite honestly, was learn from my kids as teachers. So when your kids are in school, teachers do an excellent job of teaching about transition time. And transition for pre-K kids looks like, okay, boys and girls, in about 10 minutes, we're going to start picking up and then we're going to pick up because we're going to go to circle time or we're going to go lay down and take a nap or whatever it is they're going to do next. So they keep kind of warning the kids these changes are coming. And kids do really well with that. So I found out, oh gosh, as a parent, I'm going to do the same thing. Hey, you guys, we got about 5 minutes when this program's over. We're turning the TV off. We're going to clean up and we're going to go get baths or whatever it was. It worked really good in my house. But then I realized I can use this in a bigger way. So I started using it with clients, okay, we're going to take care of this one piece. And as soon as this piece is over, we're going to take care of this piece. But then you get to that point where you start doing talks and you're learning about burnout and stress and what are the things you do. And I thought, well, shoot, I don't like to exercise. That doesn't help me. And I like music, okay, but what are the things that I really need to do to take care of myself? And for me, I went back to transition time. So my example of transition time is I've always worked about 45 minutes away from home, but I've always in every small town had a Casey's somewhere that I could stop at. Casey's, I could tell you which one has the little pellet ice that I love so much, or who has the flat cubes, who has the cleanest Casey's bathroom around, but I would always stop at a Casey's. In my car, I probably have 3 or 4 pairs of shoes. In the old days, I used to have 2 or 3 outfits. And I would literally, on my way home from work every day, no matter what I was doing, I would stop at a Casey's. Didn't matter what town, it was just that I had to make that stop. So if I'd go in and buy a drink, I'd go in and change my clothes, and I would leave that work behind at that Casey's, make that change, and then head on home so that I became mom or a wife or a mother or whatever it was I was turning into after that. So that transition was important. And then I applied for a job that I'm going to work from home. And I literally said to her, I've got to find my new way to do a transition. How do I walk away from the job that I'm doing and take care of me and know that I have some boundaries in the midst of what I'm doing? And so I'm just going to tell you what's worked for me is I don't take my laptop anyplace else in my house except my office. I don't take it into the kitchen and cook supper while I'm working. I don't do that. My office is sacred. It's where I do my work. It's where my laptop stays. I don't take it in the living room. I don't kick back in a recliner and have the laptop. And I'm so impressed by people that do that. But for me, it's a real separation. So I still found my way to transition. When I shut that laptop and walk out of that room, I'm done for the day. Unless I have plans to go back in. It's much easier to go back in the evening and open it up again. But that's if it doesn't take time away from anybody else in the house or anything else that's needed. So those are just my hints on ways to transition and ways to take care of yourself. I do want to say, just because I have the platform, that I'm thrilled to work with this ROSC. I have the benefit right now of seeing about 10 different ROSC councils in Region 4. We're soon to have at least one, if not two more new ones come on board in October. But I've also had the benefit of working with four different ROSC groups, soon to be 5, down in Region 5, which is the bottom part of the state. And what's happening here in Macoupin and Montgomery is really fantastic. Jen and Bryant are working and running as hard and as fast as they can. The things that they're doing here, I try to share with other ROSC groups and they go, wow, that's a neat idea. I never thought of that. I think Brian spoke in an ICANN conference and has had other ROSC groups reach out and want him to come talk to them and share with him things that are happening. I'm very excited about, we're going to start these monthly ROSC coordinator meetings where Brian and Jen will be able to be online with all the other coordinators in the region and share ideas and maybe learn from other people, maybe teach them a little bit. But I think that it's very important that not only do we say to them, we think they're rock stars, we think they're doing a great job, but we want to say it to them in front of all of you. So you know we feel the same way. Thank you for your time.
Fantastic. All of your subcommittees should have had a sign-in sheet. I would like to collect those, like I said, to create a sign-in sheet or an email blast for each subcommittee. And then if you guys took notes or wrote down on those sheets that I gave you, if you're ready to, you can turn them into me, or I will be touching base with each one of you on what you guys decided as your actionable strategies. So I can then maybe type something up for you guys to review. We have that coming up pretty soon. So it'll be within this week that I need to talk to you all about that. Our next ROSC meeting will be September 26th at 2 p.m. Held again here as long as John lets us. So that was a yes. And I think Kent is telling me he wants to say some things.
One of the things we're trying to do as the agency that put together both the Rural Community Opioid Response Program and the ROSC Council is we're trying to make sure that we have some sustainability with our services. So relative to St. Francis Way, I think we've talked about this maybe a little bit. We actually got funding to concentrate now on psychostimulants, the methamphetamines and cocaines, et cetera. We have that funding. It doesn't start until September 1, and it's going to pay for the infrastructure at St. Francis Way. That means the rent, the broadband, the phones, security, et cetera. And that takes us all the way through end of August of 2025. So I really don't like to start a program that I don't see through for at least 5 years. And at that point in time, everything I do has something to do with sustainability. So the biggest things that we use something called the trust guidance. It's the best practices at this point. It's contingency management. It's a few other things. In other words, rewards. And you're trying to find things for people that come to us with a psychostimulant addiction, as well as opioid or other, that gives them the same reward of any nature that they got from the substance use. So that's one of the things that we work on. Two things I got out of my last training was exercise, and is extremely important treatment. Absolute. And we need to do everything we can to make sure that everyone gets some level of exercise. The second thing is that opioid addiction, 90% or more will want to quit. They just can't take it anymore. Got a little problem with methamphetamine in particular, at best 50%. A lot of people with meth don't use it every day. They think they got it under control. And sometimes they don't use it every day because it lasts for days. So that's a bit of a catch-22 there. So we're working on that as well. The other thing is, I don't know that I've mentioned this to everybody. I don't know what our success will be. But yes, transportation is a big problem, which is why I sat in on the transportation committee. And we have put in an application to the 708 board. It really is only for Montgomery County residents. And it amounts to asking for us annually asking for 2 drivers, the 2 vehicles, and all the maintenance and fuel to get people where they need to get to, regardless of what that is, to maintain their sobriety or be working on their sobriety, whether it's St. Francis Way, regular doctor, some therapist. It doesn't mean that we're going to have to stay in the county, but it's a Montgomery County service for Montgomery County residents. Hopefully it means a lot of more people getting to their doctor's appointments, to St. Francis Way for our mental health, addiction treatment, recovery services, our dental clinic in Columbian Boulevard Dental Clinic on Old 55. So those are the things that we're up to right now that I wanted to make sure that you knew. Everything we can do to keep this whole recovery-oriented system of care with all the local resources possible moving forward, we're going to try to do. Thanks.
All right, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions or anything, feel free to reach out to Brian or I. And then I will be establishing that email group and chain that you all signed in for. So look forward to hearing from me. I know it puts a smile on your face. Thanks.
This is just talking about so it's just all part of the yes. You can make a promise. Right. So